Okay, so today we're going to be diving into some really cool stuff.
Yeah,
OpenAI just released these API tools for building AI agents, and it's like,
it's big.
it's pretty huge. Um, all those personal assistant bots that everyone keeps talking about.
Right.
This is like the next level of those.
Yeah, it's really taking it to that next step where it's not just like answer your question, but actually do something out in the world.
Exactly, and they're calling these new tools like building blocks for developers.
Yeah.
Um, and they've already got some pretty amazing examples. OpenAI actually launched a couple agents right within ChatGPT.
Right.
There's Operator, which can like browse and interact with websites.
Yeah.
And then there's Deep Research, which can like compile these crazy in-depth reports on anything you want.
Right. And what's really interesting too is that like previously developers had to like piece together all these different APIs from all these different sources.
Yeah, it was a mess.
And it was a huge pain. And now they're trying to just bring it all together.
Yeah, like a total Frankenstein situation before. But now OpenAI is like simplifying things with these new tools.
Yeah.
And they've released three main ones: the web search tool, the file search tool, and like, get this, the computer use tool.
Yeah.
Like what?
So the web search tool is really what gives these agents access to the entire internet to pull in up-to-date information so you can make sure that it's accurate and relevant.
Okay.
And it's actually the same tech that powers ChatGPT's search.
Oh, wow. So it's not just using like some outdated database?
No, it's using a model that's been trained to go through like tons and tons of information and really pick out what's relevant and cite the sources too.
Oh, that's nice.
They actually benchmarked it and it got like a 90% on this test called Simple QA, which is all about answering questions from the web.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about the file search tool?
Yeah.
I'm guessing this is all about giving agents access to like private data.
Yeah, so this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
So like all those documents you have on your computer, the reports, the spreadsheets, all that stuff,
Huh?
this lets developers upload that and structure it and then give it to these agents as like a knowledge base.
Okay.
And they're calling it Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG.
Okay, so RAG. So it's like giving them a superpower.
Exactly.
Like they have this library that they can just like instantly access.
Yeah, and they
Uh-huh.
actually added 2 new features to it. One is metadata filtering, which lets developers add attributes to files.
Okay.
So you can easily find the right information. Imagine you're searching through your entire company's documents with pinpoint accuracy.
Wow, that would be amazing.
That's what this allows.
Okay, that's cool. And then what was the other feature?
The other one is a direct search endpoint,
Okay.
which means that you can actually bypass the model completely and search your data directly. So for certain queries, it can be much faster.
Oh, cool. Okay, let's talk about the
The big one.
computer use tool.
Oh,
This one
wow.
sounds like could be like the most impactful.
Yeah, so this is the one that actually gives the agents control over computers. So you can imagine automating tasks on virtual machines or even like legacy applications that don't have API access.
So is this like the same tech behind that operator agent that we were talking about before
It is.
that can like browse the web?
That's right.
So they're able to actually like click and drag and type.
That's right. They actually showed it in ChatGPT where it's like you can watch it do things like it's a human.
That is wild.
Yeah.
It really does feel like the future is here.
Yeah.
Okay, so like how do all of these tools like work together? It seems like there's a lot of moving parts.
Right. So this is where the new API comes in.
Okay.
The responses API, they basically had to redesign the API from the ground up to handle all this new stuff.
Right.
Because the previous one, the chat completions API, was really just designed for like simple text in, text out.
Yeah.
Whereas this one's built for multi-turn conversations, tool calls, all that kind of stuff.
So it's like they created a conductor for this whole orchestra.
That's a great analogy.
I don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know we have to, I'd love to hear a little bit more about that demo that they showed with the personal stylist.
Oh, yeah.
That sounded pretty crazy.
So imagine an app that acts as your personal stylist. It can help you choose the perfect outfit.
Okay, walk me through it.
Yeah. So first you give it some basic instructions. You tell it, you're a personal stylist.
Okay.
And then to really personalize it, you give it access to your own style preferences using that file search tool.
Huh.
In the demo, they joked about like following people around the office to get this information,
Right.
but you can imagine it's like a style quiz or something.
Sure. Yeah.
So then,
So it's got my style preferences now. What?
right. So now let's add in some real-time data. Like what are the current trends
Okay.
and what's like location specific? So they use the web search tool and they imagine that the user was traveling to Tokyo.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now it knows what I like and what's hot in Tokyo.
Exactly.
So how does it all come together?
Well, you just give it a very specific instruction.
Like, find me a jacket I would like that's nearby.
Okay.
And this is where the magic of the Responses API comes in, because it can actually handle multiple actions in a single response. So it can first look at your preferences using the file search tool. Then it can use the web search tool to find relevant stores and products all in one go.
Wow, so it's like seamlessly blending all these different tools together
Exactly.
to create this like really personalized experience.
And they even showed it like correctly identifying a user's preference for Patagonia
Oh, wow.
and then finding nearby Patagonia stores in Tokyo.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really great example of how it can combine all these different things together.
I am blown away. I think we're going to have to pick this up after the break.
Yeah.
Because I'm dying to hear about the computer use tool demo.
That one's a showstopper.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
All right. So that computer use tool demo.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Okay, so they had this scenario where you're trying to help a friend find a specific Patagonia jacket online.
And they're actually using a locally running Docker container to simulate a web browser.
Oh, wow. So is it like actually controlling a browser?
Kind of, yeah. So what's really cool is the model can request screenshots from the container. It analyzes what it sees, and then it can issue commands like clicks, drags, types.
So it's like it has eyes and hands in the digital world.
Exactly.
Wow.
And it can repeat this over and over again. Like if it doesn't find it the first time, it can go back and try again
Oh, wow.
until it gets to the jacket that your friend wants.
That's incredible. I'm like, what are the implications of this? I'm trying to like wrap my head around it.
Yeah, I mean, think about things like customer service or tech support or even data entry.
Right.
All these things that involve a lot of like repetitive rule-based interactions with computers.
It's like having a digital workforce that can do all that boring stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Right.
we've talked about these individual agents that can do all these cool things.
Yeah.
But what if you want to build like a more complex system, like a whole customer support platform with a bunch of different agents working together?
Yeah, so that's where the Agents SDK comes in, which used to be called Swarm.
Okay.
It was originally kind of an experimental thing, but they quickly realized that there was a lot of potential there for building these really complex applications. So they've turned it into a production-ready tool.
So like a swarm of agents
Exactly.
working together.
Yeah. The idea is to keep simple ideas easy to implement,
Okay.
but also let you build really complex and robust systems.
So you can have like multiple agents that each have their own specialty working together.
Yeah, and they showed a demo of this using that personal stylist example.
Oh, okay. Tell me more.
So instead of having one agent that does everything,
Yeah.
you can imagine having one that's just for recommending clothes,
Right.
one for handling returns, and maybe even one for giving style advice.
So it's like breaking it down into these different departments.
Exactly, and it makes it much more manageable and efficient.
Okay, that makes sense. So how do you manage the handoffs between these different agents? I feel like that could get kind of messy.
Yeah, that's actually one of the cool things about this. They have built-in mechanisms for really seamless handoffs.
Oh, cool.
So one agent can pass control to another without losing any of the context of the conversation.
Oh, that's smart.
So it doesn't feel like you're talking to a bunch of different bots.
It's like they're actually collaborating.
Exactly.
Right.
And they actually showed this handoff process using what they called a triage agent.
Okay.
And this agent basically figures out what the user needs
Mm-hmm.
and then routes them to the right agents. If they need recommendations, they go to the stylist.
Right.
If they need to return something, they go to customer support.
It's like a virtual receptionist for your AI team.
Yeah, exactly. And what's really cool is the Agent SDK also has built-in monitoring and tracing.
So you can actually see what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, so you can see the flow of the conversation, which agents are involved, and you can even inspect individual function calls and their inputs and outputs.
That's really helpful for like debugging
Right.
and making sure that everything's working properly.
Exactly. And to top it all off, it's all open source.
Oh, wow.
So you can actually go and look at the code, contribute to it.
That's amazing.
They even give you the installation command. It's pip install OpenAI Agents.
Wow. So they're really making this technology accessible to everyone.
Yeah, they want to empower developers to build the next generation of these intelligent applications.
Well, they've definitely given us a lot to think about with this new release.
Yeah.
So these new tools and this Responses API, they seem like kind of a big deal.
They are.
Like, are these going to replace the existing APIs or?
So they've said that they're going to continue to support the chat completions API,
Okay.
but they have hinted that some of the more powerful models and features in the future
Right.
are going to require the responses API. But they've also said that migrating to responses should be fairly straightforward
Oh, yeah.
because it includes everything from chat completions and more.
So it's more of an evolution than like a total replacement.
Right.
Okay. And what about like the assistance API?
Yeah, they mentioned that that's going to be sunset in 2026,
Oh, okay.
but they'll provide a migration path to responses.
Oh, good. Okay. So no one's going to be left behind.
Exactly.
I'm sensing a theme here. It seems like OpenAI is really focused on making this stuff easy for developers.
Yeah, absolutely.
They want to make it as accessible and developer-friendly as possible.
Well, they've definitely given us a lot to think about.
For sure.
It's these tools are pretty mind-blowing,
They are.
and the responses API is a big deal.
Yeah, this is a game changer.
So, like, what's the one thing that you want our listeners to take away from all of this? I think the main takeaway is that the future of AI is moving towards these really sophisticated and capable agents, things that can access information, understand our needs, and actually interact with the digital world for us.
Yeah.
And it's a future that has a lot of potential, but it's up to us to make sure that potential is realized responsibly and ethically.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And if anyone out there is as fascinated by this technology as we are, I definitely encourage you to go check out OpenAI's website, learn more about these tools.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll be the one to build the next groundbreaking agent-based application.
The possibilities are endless.
They are. It's such an exciting time to be following this stuff.
It is.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI agents.
Of course.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild to think that we've only just started to explore what's possible with these new AI agents.
I know, right? It feels like you're getting a glimpse into this future where AI is like woven into our digital lives.
Yeah.
Helping us do things that we never even imagined before.
That personal stylist example really hit home for me.
Yeah.
Like the idea that an agent can understand my preferences, then take that information and combine it with what's happening on the web, and then actually interact with websites to find me stuff, or even buy stuff for me.
Right.
That's crazy.
It is. It shows the power of combining these different tools together, the web search, the file search, the computer use.
Yeah.
It's like the symphony of AI capabilities.
Yeah, and then with the Agent SDK, developers can actually conduct that symphony.
Exactly.
They can create these complex systems where multiple agents are working together and handing off tasks to each other, like a well-oiled machine.
Right, like that triage agent.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what do you need? Let me send you to the right expert,
Yeah.
whether it's customer support, technical assistance, or even, like you said, personal shopping.
It would completely change how we interact with businesses and services.
Right.
No more waiting on hold, no more navigating those confusing phone menus.
Yeah.
Just instant personalized help from a team of AI experts.
And because they can access and process information so quickly,
Yeah.
they could potentially provide much faster and more efficient service than a human could.
That's a pretty amazing thought. But of course, like with any new technology, there are always potential concerns.
For sure. As these agents get more advanced and become more integrated into our lives, we need to make sure they're developed responsibly
Yeah.
and that they're being used ethically.
It seems like OpenAI is taking that responsibility seriously,
Yeah.
making the Agent SDK open source so everyone can see what's going on and contribute to it.
Yeah, that's a good sign.
It's a good sign, and they're giving developers tools to monitor and trace how those agents are behaving.
Exactly.
So we can really understand and control how these systems work.
Right.
It's a good reminder that we're the ones in charge here.
Yeah.
We need to steer the development of AI in a direction that's good for everyone.
Well said. It's powerful technology.
Yeah.
And with great power comes a great responsibility. So true. I think our listeners are probably buzzing with questions and ideas right now.
Probably.
We've covered a lot in this deep dive,
Yeah, we have.
but it feels like we've only just scratched the surface.
We have. This is a topic that we could talk about for hours.
For days.
Yeah.
So what's the one thing that you hope our listeners walk away with today?
I think the biggest takeaway is that the future of AI is heading towards these really sophisticated and capable agents, things that can understand our needs, access information, and interact with the digital world. It's a future full of potential, but it's up to all of us to make sure that potential is realized responsibly and ethically.
Absolutely. And if you're out there and you're as fascinated by this stuff as we are,
Yeah.
I definitely encourage you to go check out OpenAI's website, learn more about these new tools. Who knows, maybe you'll be the one to build the next big thing in AI.
Yeah, the possibilities really are limitless.
It's a really exciting time to be following all of this.
It is.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI agents.
Well, Carl,
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.